Hello children. So already we have learnt in our earlier classes that plants are living things. Okay. So around us we are seeing so many plants. No. So we'll just learn something about them. So we know plants and animals are living things. To survive, they need food, water, air, shelter, the right climate, and also the right type of means as we have our houses, human beings, we have our houses, no? Same like that, even plants and animals also have their particular places according to their convenience. Okay, so they need air, water, food. So when they have all these, plants are able to live. Plants and animals live in various places. As I said, they also have their places. They live in so many places, various places in the sense so many places. They live in places where it is very cold as well as in places where it is hot and dry. So not only in cold places, they also live in places where there is so much of hotness, so much of dryness. Okay, so different climate conditions like cool climate, hot climate, wet climate, dry climate, all these type of climates, no, in these type of places, so plants are able to live. So even if you see in the diagram here children, so you have got different type of plants here, no? So these plants grow in different type of areas, so we'll learn how it is. Okay, clear children? Yes. Adaptations. See, here is we are talking about adaptations here. So plants and animals living inside water should be able to breathe air dissolved in water. So first of all, what is adaptations? Adapt in the sense making ourselves comfortable to adjust to something. In the sense you're able to live, they are making themselves able to live. As I said before, so plants live in hot climate, some live in dry climate, some live in cold climate. So in whichever area they are living, those plants are able to make themselves to live in that particular climatical conditions. Okay children, clear? No, so that they can survive in that area. So here for example, plants and animals living inside water should be able to breathe air dissolved in water. So here we are telling that plants and animals living inside water. Before I said that plants live in, grow in soil. Not only in soil, plants also grow in water. Suppose if they are growing in water, suppose a plant is growing in water, it should be able to breathe air. It should be able to breathe air because air is very much necessary for a living thing to live. Unless and until we breathe air, we cannot live. Clear children? No. So even plant has to breathe air. So to breathe air, it should be able to dissolve in water. To breathe the air which is dissolved in water. In the sense what? Dissolving means the air is going to mix up with the water here. And that air, the plant is going to breathe. Because of that, the plant is able to grow in the water. Understood children? So plant which is living inside the water, it must be able to breathe the air, okay, which is dissolved in water. Okay. This is called adaptation. In the sense, this is one example, like it is making itself comfortable to live in water. Okay, this is called as adaptation. And here the second point here is those living in deserts should be able to survive with very little water. See here, when we say plants are able to grow in water in the first point. Okay, and they are they are able to live according to its condition. And here if you see, some plants live in desert plants. For example, cactus. No, here if you see this cactus, this is a desert plant. Okay, so these plants which are going to live in deserts, so they are going to survive with very little water. Deserts we don't have water, but still these plants are able to live there. How? Whatever water they get, they store in their stems. So like that, they are able to live there with very little water. And this is they are making themselves comfortable with that hot climate, desert climate. Clear, children? And the third one is plants and animals living in a certain place survive by adapting themselves to the conditions of that place. So here places. So plants live in different, I said no, on different places, like even soil also, like red soil, black soil, or near water areas, near mountains, in the hill areas, in snow areas, so many places. So wherever they live, they are making themselves fitted to its environment, climate condition. Clear, children? This is known as adaptation, this process. So adaptation is nothing but plants are making themselves, not only plants, any living we think that maybe it may be an animal or a human being or a plant. So making ourselves to live in that particular conditions, climatical conditions. Okay, children? Yeah. Now, like what are the types of plants here? So we are having so many types of plants. We'll just learn one by one. The first one is here terrestrial plants. Terrestrial plants. Okay. What do you mean by terrestrial? Terrestrial. That is land. Terrestrial in the sense land. So plants that grow on land are called terrestrial plants. So plants that grow on land, okay, that are called as terrestrial plants. We said we are also having plants growing in water. Those plants are not called as terrestrial plants, okay, which grow on land, on the soil. Okay, those are called terrestrial plants. Terrestrial plants are of different types depending on the condition they grow in. So they are of different types. No, so depending on the condition, I already said to you that plants grow in different type of climatical conditions and different places also. So like that, we are having different type of plants, terrestrial plants. There are various kinds of terrestrial plants depending on different habitats. So there are various kinds of terrestrial plants depending on different habitats. So habitats means what, children? Like where plants and animals or human beings able to live. Same like climate or environment it is. Okay. So as we said, terrestrial plants are different types depending on the conditions and depending on different habitats, different environmental changes. Okay, children? Clear? Okay. Now, so what are the types of plants? We said no, one is terrestrial plants, and as we said we are having different plants. So we'll see plants of cold hilly areas. Plants of cold hilly areas. See, children, if you go to mountain areas or hill areas, so the climate will be cool. No. And here also we'll be having plants. As you see in the diagram here, even hilly areas also will have plants. And it is very cold in winter in hilly places like Ooty, Kashmir, Darjeeling and the Himalayan ranges, including Himachal Pradesh. Okay. there is snowfall in some areas. So where are the cool regions in our country? So Ooty, Kashmir, Darjeeling, and we are also having Himalayan ranges. Okay, so Himachal Pradesh. Okay, so these hilly places are also having snow in some areas. Some places are covered with snow here. Okay, and the trees that grow here have to survive the cold and snowfall. So trees have to survive the cold and snowfall where in these places. Okay, instead of flowers they have cones and are called conifers. So we cannot see flowers on the trees here because of so much of coolness, so much of snow here. Even for flowers we say that summer is the best season. Why? Because of the sunlight we get much more blooms of flowers. But because these areas are cool, we cannot see flowers, but they have cones. Cone, children, are you having idea of a cone? Normally we'll like to have ice cream cone. So like which type? As you see here. See, it's a reverse shape of cone here. No. So normally our cone will be like this. That's a reverse V. So these cones, they have cones and they are called as conifers. They are called as conifers. Conifers have needle-like leaves which are very tough and can survive the cold and snow. How are the conifers? These are a needle-like leaves. The leaves of these trees are like needles, it seems, like a needle. No, you have an idea of a needle, very sharp and thin. So this type of leaves, and they are very tough, very strong, and they can survive the cold and snow. They are that much strong that they can survive the coldness and snow in the weather. Okay, like example, pine, spur, cedar, deodar and fir trees. Okay, see here you are able to see in the pictures here like trees. No, so these are some examples of these trees which survive in the cold and snow areas. So these are one type of plants which grow in cold hilly areas. Clear, children? Okay. Now the second type, one is which grow on land, another one is again we said like on hilly areas. So here these trees keep their leaves green all throughout the year, and so they are called evergreen trees. Okay, see, one more speciality of these trees is that, like we said, pine trees, fir tree, whichever are growing in cold hilly areas, their leaves are green throughout the area. They are green throughout the year. So that is why they are called as evergreen trees. What they are called as, children? Evergreen trees. Why? Because their leaves are green throughout the throughout the year. No, even if you observe our trees, like what we are having in our state right now. Okay, so sometimes the leaves are going to shed. They turn yellow. They shed off. No, again when spring comes, they start growing. But here if you see, these leaves are remaining green throughout the year. So they are not going to shed. That is why these are called as evergreen trees. Clear, children? For example, the spruce tree, and this is used as Christmas tree. This tree, we call it as Christmas tree. I hope you might have seen Christmas tree, everyone. So this tree has named as spruce tree, but we call it as Christmas tree. And if you observe the Christmas tree, it's in its shape, how it is, it's a cone shape, and the leaves are always green in color. So this is an example of evergreen tree. Okay, and oak, maple, birch and beech trees shed their leaves in winter to protect themselves from the cold. Again, another type of trees in this cold hilly areas. What are they? Oak, maple, birch and beech. What these trees do? They shed their leaves in winter. Why? To protect themselves from cold. So whereas evergreen trees, they remain green, but these trees, oak, maple, birch and beech type of trees, they are going to shed their leaves in winter. Why? To protect themselves from the cold. Because already it is a cold area, and in winter the coolness will be very high. So to protect themselves from that cold, so they are going to shed their leaves. Okay, and new leaves for them, they grow in spring. New leaves when they grow again for those type of trees in spring. Okay, and they are called deciduous trees. These type of trees are called as deciduous trees. Clear, children? So what are deciduous trees? Deciduous trees, they shed their leaves in winter. Why? To protect themselves from the cold. And again when they get the leaves, they get them back again in the spring. New leaves grow in the spring. These trees are called as deciduous trees. For example, what trees we are having here? Oak, maple, birch and beech. Clear, children? Yes. So again the other type of plants. So, children, what are plains? So plains are a flat surface land areas. Actually plains means flat surface land areas where we can see along with the rivers or mountains or wherever you have a flat surface land area, you call it as plains. So these the trees and plants of the plains mostly have many branches and numberless leaves. So this type of plants which grow on the plains, they have so many branches and numberless, in the sense we can't count it. So many leaves. Okay. And the leaves are renewed periodically. Renewed. What do you mean by renewed? In the sense, again, doing again. No, renewed. The leaves are renewed. Here the leaves are renewed in the sense are going to take birth again. They are growing again and again. Okay. Periodically. Periodically means, children, like we have our periods, first period, second period, third period. So one after the other, we have all the 6 or 7 periods in a day in the school. Okay. So same like that here also, from time to time, periodically in the sense time to time. So these the leaves of these plants are going to grow like again and again. Okay. So period according to the seasons, like they'll shed off their leaves, again they start having their leaves growing up as a new leaves. Okay. And for example, teak, babul, neem, peepal, ashoka, mango, etc. Such type of trees are common trees of the plains. So we can see like these type of trees on the plains. For example, neem tree. Neem tree, we are very much familiar with this tree. No, every street has neem trees. So many houses also they'll be having a neem tree. Okay, in the empty spaces, and even mango trees also. So we have seen this type of trees like a peepal tree, ashok tree. Okay, so these are some trees which grow on plains. Okay, so you can see in the diagram also. Clear, children? So what are the type of plants which grow on plains? So these are the trees which have so many branches and numberless leaves. They are renewed. They grow according to the seasons. Okay. Like, and then for example, neem, mango, peepal, ashoka are some of the trees which grow on plains. Clear? Okay. Now another type of trees. So what are they? These are plants of hot and damp areas. Plants of hot and damp areas. So what is a damp area? A damp area in the sense which has a little moisture in the air. For example, seashore. Now if you go to near the water bodies like sea, Now you'll have so much of water there, but still you feel a little humidity in the sense like the air will have even the air has a little moisture. Okay, so such type of areas are called as damp areas, where the climate is hot and also carries little moisture, little wetness in the air. Okay, many kinds of plants grow best where it is hot and wet. So for some plants this type of climate is much suitable. And what are they? Like palm, tamarind, rubber, tea, coffee and coconut. These are some examples: palm, tamarind, rubber, tea, coffee and coconut. These type of plants. These plants prefer this type of climate which is hot and wet. Okay, these trees grow well in this type of climate, and the trees of such areas are evergreen and they usually have a large number of leaves and they do not shed their leaves in winter. See, these trees also are evergreen. Why? Because they also have their leaves throughout the year. Okay, and they have number of leaves and they do not shed their leaves in winter. Earlier we learnt, what we learnt? That some trees in cold regions, they shed their leaves in winter to protect themselves from the coldness. No, here these trees, they do not shed. Okay, they also are evergreen and they like to live in hot and damp areas. Okay, so these are another type of plants, children. So you can see a picture of a tamarind tree here. Okay, now another one. So coconut tree here again. So these are some examples where you can see these type of trees in hot and damp areas. And now as we have learned some things, we'll just revise whatever we have learned in the form of question and answer. Ready, children? We'll just do a revision part here. Plants which grow on land are called. What are they called as? A option is aquatic plants, B is terrestrial plants, C is mangroves, D none of these. So land in the sense, what meaning we get? Terrestrial. So the answer is terrestrial plants. Got it, children? Okay. We'll go to the second question here. The plants which have green leaves throughout the year are called. The plants which has green leaves throughout the year are called. The question is having the answer. Yes, option A, evergreen plants. No, because they have all the year, throughout the year, green leaves. It is called as evergreen plants. The third one is, the trees that shed their leaves at the same time once every year are called. The trees that shed their leaves at the same time once every year are dash. What did I say, children? You remember? The trees which grow in cold regions, they'll shed their leaves once. That is when? In winters. No, why? To protect themselves from the cold. That type of trees are called what? Yes, it is deciduous trees. A option. Okay, children? Clear? Now, the fourth one. The natural process by which plants adjust to their surroundings is called. Yes, A option is habitat, B option is adaptation, C is adjustment, then D is migration. Okay, which option is correct, children? Which one is correct? Habitat, adaptation, adjustment or migration? Yes, the natural process by which the plants are making themselves convenient to grow in that particular climatical conditions or place. Yes, it is option B, adaptation. Clear, children? Yes. And the fifth question is, which of the following are conifers? Conifers. Example, A1 is pine, B. Fir, C. Cedar, D. All the above. I gave you the answer here. They are all the above, like pine, fir, cedar, all come under conifers. Okay, children? The next question. Which of the following trees found in deciduous forests? So you have to name the tree which is found in deciduous forest. Example, peepal, banyan, gulmohar, or all the above. Okay, where do you find, which type of tree you find in deciduous forest? And the answer is all the above. We find all the above, peepal, banyan and gulmohar. Okay, children? Yes, the next question is, which conifer has single flat needles? Single flat needles. Options are A. Balsam fir, red pine, eastern larch and blue spruce. So I'll give you the answer here because it is balsam fir. Balsam fir. So this balsam fir tree looks like this as in the picture. Okay. Okay, it is balsam fir. This tree has a single flat needles. Clear? Okay. The next question. Which of these conifers has four-sided single needles? Four-sided single needles. We'll see which tree has. One is red pine, B is blue spruce, C is white pine and D is white cedar. And the answer is blue spruce. See, as it is, you see in the diagram. Okay, it's blue in color. The leaves are blue in color here. Okay, and this plant has four-sided single needles type of leaves. Okay, this is called as blue spruce. Again, children, the next question. What is a spruce? What is a spruce? A option is deciduous, B water lily, C mangrove, D coniferous. Spruce. We already learned that it is coniferous. It has cone type of leaves. Okay, children? Clear? And the last question for you. Yes, children. Dash trees shed their leaves seasonally as the weather cools during the autumn months. Okay. So it is not in winters. It is in autumn months. Okay. These trees are going to shed their leaves. What are they? Coniferous, cactus, deciduous or duckweed. Okay, this answer is deciduous. Deciduous trees, they shed their leaves in the month of autumn. Autumn, in the sense, I already said when I was telling, they are going to shed their leaves in autumn. Again, they'll get the new leaves in the month of spring. Okay, children, clear? Okay then. So that's all for today. So take care. Hope you have understood all this. Okay. And goodbye.